Good evening, race fans. We are under the lights at Bristol for tonight's Bristol 125 in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. My name is Alayton Norgard. Joining me in the booth tonight is Carlos Acosta filling in for Robert Hill. And we also have Scott Crump as our race control this week. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Well, I am doing fine. It's going to be my first broadcast of this season. While I wasn't expecting it to be this early, it's still going to be nice and fun to get one out, get myself warmed up before I start taking over the 3YTV 2003 series.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to get kind of warmed back up before a new series starts. We've got just a minute or so left in qualifying here. Taking a look at the points here, we've got William White ahead by 10 points right now. Just as a reminder, it's the top 4 that make it to the championship race. This is the first of 2 races remaining before that cutoff. So we have Bristol tonight and then Talladega next week to decide the final 4. So it's currently William White, Corey Abbott, Gavin Higgins, and Jay Connor. Still definitely time, especially with a race like Talladega coming up, for people like Austin or Michael Hosick or Ray Bracey to kind of make up some points and work their way up into the top 4. Carlos, have you been running in the ARCA series for most of the season?
Not for most of the season. I did the season opener and then a couple races here and there, and then I was going to be done with it, but we hired a driver to the team, and I did a couple races back, and I was actually supposed to be running tonight, but unfortunately, Jessica couldn't be here tonight due to work complications, so I'm taking over. So you're not gonna be seeing me up in the front of the standings anytime soon. As oh boy, how do I fix this? Well, qualifying is over, and we are welcoming William White, current points leader, to be the pole sitter with Jay Connor right in second place. Third place, Gavin Higgins. Ray Bracey qualified in 4th place. Jacob Adams in 5th. Corey Abbott in 6th place. So you see the driver starting to show up. And actually, why don't you go ahead and take over the rest of the field while I go ahead and try to fix this graphical issue.
In 7th place, we got Andrew Rucker. 8th place, we got Hale Pocock. Let me slow down for a second here. 9th place, we got Josh Clark, Zach Evans starting in 10th. Chris Albrecht, yes, in 11th place, and Andrew Hardcastle in 12th. 13th, we've got Dominic Wright and Frank Fodi in 14th. Tommy Ryan back in 15th. Not a kind of qualifying run we kind of expect from him at this point, but then David Phillips in 16th. Harrison Tellen in 17th, and Caleb Pecumer in 18th. 19th, we've got Tyler Dixon and Austin Sally in 20th. Justin Vandermeerl in 21st, and Austin Inamnit in 22nd for Lake Norman. Kyle Hanshaw in 23rd, and Dave Huckleberry in 24th. And in 25th, we have Jeff Ryan and Michael Hossack in 26th. Connor Thompson will be starting in 27th. And our race control is 28th on the grid. He won't actually be starting. But Jaden Rasimas will be 29th, Shea Mitchell 30th, and rounding out the field is Mitch Javier in 31st. Those last 3 drivers did not set a time. That is why race control was ahead of them. And it's also worth noting, first and second, William White and Jay Connor were separated by just 1,000th of a second.
Very, very tight timing there for these guys. As Bristol tonight, and you mentioned next week Talladega, to finish off the this round of the playoffs. And what 2 different makers tracks you can choose? As just realized that we got some graphical issues with some of the paints. Hopefully Trading Paints decides to wake up at some point tonight, guys. But yeah, Bristol tonight, Talladega next week. These top four could change. We may not be able to see. We may see somebody sneak in there at the very end and get a good spot.
Yeah, there's so much chaos that can happen here at Bristol and at Talladega, just with how tight this track is tonight. If something happens in front of you, you don't have a lot of room to avoid it, especially with the speeds that these cars are going. I was in a call with some of the Abbott guys earlier, and they were talking about how this is kind of like a short track super speedway with how much banking it is. There's just, the cars go so fast for a half-mile track. These are 15 second laps. Taking the green, William gets a pretty good jump. Looks like he's going to clear Jay into turn 1 and 2, and going to have Gavin Higgins and Jay Connor side by side fighting for that second position. Definitely the start that Will was looking for there. Gives him a chance to open up some space. You have a choice between the top and the bottom line here at Bristol, and we're seeing most of these guys run on the bottom, and that's where you want to be for tire purposes.
Caution already.
Our first caution.
That is the 5 of Austin Sale.
Austin Sally.
Sally, excuse me. Now we do want to apologize to our Robotics Photography, as we're not quite sure why the graphic isn't loading, but unfortunately the graphic transition to replays is not working tonight, so we're using a backup one. So each replay tonight is brought to you by Robotics Photography, so feel free to check them out. Let's take a look and see what happened to Austin Sally.
Yeah, it looks like he just got a bit loose through the corner, and the biggest issue I was seeing in practice with these cars was coming off the corner. If you gave a little bit too much throttle, it was very easy, especially on cold tires, for the rear end to go around on him, and it looks like that's what happened with Austin there.
Yeah, very easy to do in these cars. They are lower horsepower, but it's still easy to do. Let's see if we can go on board and kind of just experience what happens. A little too much beans there exiting the corner. Hit the inside wall. I think the car's still going to be okay. It's just cross start finish line backwards, and they're going to continue ongoing.
Yeah, he's just got a little dent in the front of his fender there. But with this being a short track, as fast as it is, it shouldn't make a huge difference. So I think he'll be okay there. As wrecks go at Bristol, that was a pretty good one to have. As weird as it is to call wreck good.
I'm also seeing here that Michael Hossack was possibly also involved in a different issue. Let me see if maybe I can pull up what happened. It could have just been slowing down. We're gonna see here. Oh, my goodness! I think we fixed the robotics photography issue that was showing up. Yeah, and okay, so there were a couple of drivers that registered that they were having issues, but in reality that was just them slowing down and iRacing interpreting them as having issues. So working on getting some of these paints figured out and fixed for you guys. So hang on tight while we get that taken care of. But we are 1 to green. We're going to be restarting here for the first race of the night here on lap number 8.
And we did have William White. He is still the leader. He opted to take the outside for this restart, and once again gets a good jump over Jay Connor. Jay was able to stay single file with Gavin this time, so he's not going to lose the same kind of time to Will as on the initial start. So we'll see if he's able to turn that into contesting for the lead, or if they kind of maintain position. So as I was talking about before the yellow came out, the bottom is where you kind of want to be running for tires, but the top does tend to be faster, and that is where you also want to be making your passes. When you're on the bottom, it's just so much harder getting pinched off of the corner, especially. It's hard to get a good run out of the corner and maintain your position when you have someone on your outside. How is Williams paint looking on the broadcast now?
It's still. I just had Trading Paints refresh again, so give me a couple minutes or so for it to actually update, and then we'll see if it updates correctly.
Yeah, he is running a special paint tonight. It looks like it's loading the wrong spec map for it, but it is supposed to be a black car, so hopefully that fixes itself here shortly.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Worst case scenario, I can try to find his iRacing ID and then just remove the spec mapping so that the wrong one isn't being shown.
But we are now already 15 laps in here. It's a 125 lap race here tonight. As I mentioned, these are 15 second laps, so these laps can tick by quick if we stay under green. And now that we've gotten, what are we, 7-8 laps into this run, I think our chances of seeing a longer green run are pretty good. A lot of the problems that people were having were specifically on cold tires, so now that they've gotten up to temp, we might be okay for a while until people start dealing with more tire wear, which is a significant issue here in these cars.
Yeah, well, we've got a pretty decent green flag run developing right now. Hasn't really been any major changes. William White still leading the race. He was the pole sitter and the points leader coming into tonight. Gavin Hiven has passed Jay Kaner for that second place position. That's kind of really been the only change in the top 6. After that, we got a pretty big move from Andrew Hardcastle, who's been slowly moving up spots. Same thing with Dominic Wright. 7th and 8th, both of these guys are. They are up 5 spots each from where they qualified, both of these Abbott Motorsport drivers. But the biggest mover so far of the night is Jaden Rasimas, who is up 13 spots into 16th place right now, driver of KOR Motorsports.
Yeah, Jaden, I'd be curious to see just what he was doing, because that is a lot of spots to make up in just 20 laps here. If I had to guess, people might have checked up for Austin's spin earlier, and he was able to get around them there, potentially. But even then, Austin spun onto the apron immediately, so there shouldn't have been that many checkups. Either way, that's a lot of spots. I'm pretty impressed by Jaden here so far tonight.
Nothing else developing kind of out in the racetrack. We do have some side-by-side battles. As a matter of fact, we're taking a look at Josh Clark and Dominic Wright, and that is a battle for that 10th place position. Dominic Wright is one of the drivers who has been moving up slowly, up 2 positions right now. 25 laps into this race. We only have, when they cross the line, 100 laps left, and if we go without a caution, this race will go by very quickly. Now, I know you race, but what would be your strategy of maybe getting the most that you can out of a track like this with 100 laps in a race?
My kind of go-to strategy at a place like Bristol is typically going to be running the bottom. I'm going to lose spots early in a run, but I'm also going to keep, hopefully, more tire under me. Oh, just got Dominic Wright rear-ended by a car behind. Are we going to get a yellow for that? People are keeping it straight, it looks like, but that was close. Almost had a caution there.
Yeah, we got a big gaggle of cars here, as you mentioned. Because of that checkup, a lot of these drivers have kind of stacked up towards outside the top 10, and we're going to see a caution. It could be from any one of these guys here, as they're trying to take any inch that they can.
Yeah, going back to what I was saying before Dom got plowed into, kind of want to, my strategy here is to save the tires on the bottom, try and come back later in the run. That relies on getting a decent green flag run, though, which is always a gamble at a track like Bristol, where it's so easy for something to go wrong and the car to go around and bring out the yellow flag. So it kind of, this early in the race, that's still going to be my go-to. Later on, you got to send it on the top if you're on fresh tires and just try and make up whatever positions you can in the time that's left. It's just balancing time left versus making sure you have tires at the end of the race, essentially. Speaking of tires, we do have 5 sets for this, so that's 25 laps per set, which is definitely more than enough for a short track like this. But that is one thing that has been pretty common for the ARCA series this season, is tires are not really a constraint. If we see yellows every 20-30 laps, we're going to see people pitting as well. So kind of takes that element of strategy out of it, which isn't great, but these guys are learning, so kind of want to make sure that they're able to run their race as well.
Well, right now we do have a battle for that second place position. We are looking right now as these two guys, Gavin Higgins and Jake Hayner, are battling side by side for that position. Higgins holding on to that second place position ever since he passed Jay earlier in the race, I believe, on that first restart of the night. But whoa, Jay in the number 9 machine, both of these black cars, but the 9 has that green color number, and the Gavin has that red color number. As Jay in the 9 is just rolling that outside line, and he's making it work here at these banks here in Bristol. And you mentioned saving tires there on the inside, but like, how much can you save compared to running on the outside? Like, what's the what's kind of like the I don't know what the word is, but like, when should you start pushing?
That's kind of hard to quantify specifically. You don't want to run too much on the top early in a run, especially. Asking the hard questions here. They are going around a lap car of Shane Mitchell there. So already a lap down for him. Also, Austin Sally is down a lap. Austin Nabnett making an early pit stop here.
Yeah.
You don't want to pit under green at Bristol if you can at all avoid it, so I can only assume something has gone wrong with his car or his setup there.
He does actually have some damage. But actually, from what I'm looking, I see both Tyler Dixon and Austin going down pit road, and I'm taking a look at my telemetry. They both have meatball flags. I don't see any obvious damage to that 79. Let me pull up my bigger screen. Yeah, I don't see any obvious damage to that 79, but I definitely did see something for Austin's vehicle. Oh,
that's very strange.
You can see right. Oh wow, you can see that whole right side has been crushed in that 79.
Yeah, that is one thing that can very easily happen here. As easy as it is to get on the throttle too hard out of the corner and spin to the inside, it's also very easy to just push up and slam into the wall on exit as well. That may not be what happened there. It's hard to say, especially if another car was involved, but that is one thing that these drivers have to watch out for. The exits of these corners are very treacherous.
Yep, and we have a battle here for that 5th place position on track. Ray Bracey, everyone's favorite Bojo, is trying to hold off a hard-charging Jacob Adams for that position. Ray Bracey is on the outside line, getting that good advantage on the exit of the corner. Hitting the wall, though, is going to give up a spot, maybe two, as Cale Peacock has gone right on by, and the 77 has gained a spot there without even trying, as both the 53 and the 77 get by the number 7. And behind them, we have Frank Fody, Andrew Hardcastle going side by side there for even more spots.
Yeah, and then Jacob Adams got up into the wall a corner later, and that Cale Peacock go by as well. So just by not getting into the wall, Cale has gained 2 spots in just as many laps. So that's kind of Some nice timing there.
Well, you
Both
know
of us
what they
continuing to
say.
kind of drop backwards here, with Harrison passing him now, and Andrew Hardcastle looking on his bottom as well.
Yeah, Ray's kind of struggling ever since we put the camera on him. And, you know, I'm a friend of Ray's. I like Ray. I think he's a pretty cool guy. I'm going to continue to leave the camera on him to see him drop more spots.
He brushed the wall a little bit there, but not quite as hard as the last time. Didn't really lose speed from it, but ahead of him, Jacob did get into it again, and that's allowed Frank Fodi to go by, and he's side by side with Harrison Talon, who has now completed that pass. So, yeah, you gotta watch out for that wall. That will ruin your day.
Well, we know iRacing, I think about a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years now, had implemented a accumulated damage system for these for all their vehicles. So I kind of want to ask you, like, how hard can you get away with maybe hitting that wall at a track like this? Because the aerodynamics doesn't really matter too much at this track. It still matters a little bit, but not too much. So, like, how often can you hit the wall and still be okay?
I've personally haven't seen the accumulated damage play much of a role. Maybe if you're hitting the wall a lot more often, but I think you can give a pretty decent whack here and there. You'd have to be pretty careless to do enough damage to significantly hurt your car. Even if you do have some right front fender damage, that will be enough to give people the edge over you. So you still want to definitely avoid it, but it's not a race ender for sure. We've got Ray, Bracy, and John. Well, we just got in the wall. Had some netcode that had a bumper fall off briefly, but came back, or was that his front end? No, that's just netcode. He's all good.
All right, sorry about that. Something came up, but we're all good to go here. Take a look and see what else is going on here on the racetrack. We do have this battle that you were mentioning there for that fifth position. These three cars going at it. Kale, who we mentioned earlier, got 2 spots without really doing anything, just not getting into the wall and getting good momentum off the corner. Has now lost 2 of those spots, one of them to Harrison Talion and Frank Fodi. Meanwhile, at the front, William White is knee-deep in lap traffic, and this is what he's going to have to be real careful with, because if you make a mistake or you try to push a little harder than you should, you're going to find yourself with a wrecked race car instead of in victory lane.
Yeah, as a leader coming up on lap traffic, especially at a track like this where it's so tight, it's always terrifying because you don't necessarily know what they're going to do, especially if they're just
my
kicking
goodness!
Off the first time. Jaden catches the wall pretty hard there, but I think his car is still going to be okay. But yeah, catching a lap car for the first time, putting them a lap down, you don't know if they're going to let you go or if they're going to fight for that lap and try to stay on the lead lap as long as they can. It's scary, but Will's making it work. He's opening a gap since the last time I looked, up to 2.5 seconds over second place.
Oh, around!
They have it right now.
Goes
actually.
to 27. Caution is out for Chris Albrecht.
Oh, that was almost a bad rejoin there.
I mean, for a quick glance, I don't really think he had any other choice. But let's take a look at the replay, and I believe we do still have our graphic working. Let's see what happened to Chris. Right? Oh no! Ray Bracy hit the outside wall, and the checkup that resulted with the 27 not really anywhere else to go, caused the 27 to hit the number 7 of Ray Bracy and just go skidding down into the inside wall. I think Ray Bracy may end up with a tally there for that one.
And sounds like, yeah, Ray Bracey, unfortunately, is going to get a tally for that one. Getting into the wall and kind of leaving Chris nowhere to go. Not a good situation, but that does highlight just how light and sensitive these cars are on exit of these corners. And we should see pretty much everyone come down pit road here. We are halfway into this race, almost exactly halfway. So these guys definitely want some fresh tires. They are going to be definitely heavily worn at this point.
Yeah, well said indeed. This is the one pit lane version of Bristol for both green flag and caution conditions. So if you have to go to pit road, even during green flag conditions, you have to go through both pit lanes, which is if a caution comes out during that point, it's a huge penalty. But it is the fairest method though under caution. Many games are played with the dual pit road opening that I have seen. So thankfully, iRacing did add that a couple years ago. But all the leaders going down pit road. I think I don't see Jaden Rasimas or Connor Thompson going down pit road, but I think they're just a little far back, so maybe they'll show themselves out here. But exiting pit road, they went through the first one, and I believe they now have to go through this. Okay, no, that was it. No, they're good to go.
Yeah, you come into pit road off of turn 2, and you go down the backstretch first on pit road. And the leaders have their pits on the front stretch. So, well, the leaders, the people that qualify in the top, something like 22 spots, something like that. So, yeah, once the leader, he started on the pole, so he has that first pit stall. So he's immediately off of pit road there on the exit.
And we are already 1 to green. This is actually a little quicker than I expected. I thought there would have been like at least additional lap. But they're going back to green already.
Yeah, it does help when it's a half-mile track and these pace laps aren't quite as long as we see at intermediates or super speedways.
Whoa! What's going on?
Car on the
Caution is back out. I am not sure if this is going to be technically a new caution or if it's going to be an additional lap, as I believe that's Austin in a bit. I'm just trying to find. Was that him? No, that
looked
wasn't
like
Austin.
Jeff Ryan in the 35.
That was Jeff Ryan in the 35. Let's see what happened. He was just stopped there on the bottom of the racetrack.
I can only assume he was supposed to let people by or something, and he just waited until the last second to do so. It was very strange.
Very strange indeed. It's either that or maybe he had to let the pace car by or some sort of something happened, because that didn't look like a mechanical issue. That kind of looked like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, so I'm just going to stop so people pass me. We won't know what happened there, but I believe this does actually bring out a brand new caution. And so this is technically the third caution of the race, as that second restart barely even had a chance to even have any life. Everyone is slowing and stopping so that the pace car can zoom on by at a ridiculously fast speed.
Well, it's not going that fast. It's kind of slowed down now, but yeah, the pace car has now picked up the leader. Probably a good time to do some sponsor reads.
You know, that's a good call. Let's go ahead and talk about tonight's sponsors and give shout outs and get ourselves paid as soon as I can find where I put that piece of paper. Thank you to the Premier Series sponsors. I want to give a shout out to Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up. Well, let me try that again. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. Don't spin your wheels. Accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Thank you to Worldwide Technology Raceway. They are a motorsports racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, close to the Gateway Arc. It features a 1.25-mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT IndyCar Series. It also has a 2-mile infield road course used by the Speed Tour, Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. Has a quarter-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series, Midwest Nationals events, and the Carplex, a state-of-the-art kart racing facility. We'll be right back with some other sponsor reads. Next caution. Green flag is about to come out for the third restart of the night. Hopefully this one is significantly longer than the second one. Green flag's back out on lap 74 with 52 laps remaining.
Corey got caught sleeping there side by side with Jay out of turn 2. Jay with the top line there, I think will be able to clear Corey. If you're going to make
no!
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh, Jacob Adams with the big hit.
Into that pit, into those barrels, the sand barrels, I believe. Heavy damage to that Lowe's machine, and caution is back out. I will say that was significantly longer than the second restart.
It's a pretty low bar, but
yeah,
yes,
by definition, it was significantly
was it about
longer.
a lap?
I think a little less than a lap. But considering they went about a centimeter before that third caution came out, as wow, just nowhere to go. It was the 28, and the 28 got loose going into the corner. 53 had nowhere to go, and then just due to the contact, the car got positioned down towards an angle to hit those pit barrels.
Yeah, Josh in the 28 got some fairly significant left front damage there, but aside from that and Jacob Adams, obvious death right there, I think that's about the only substantial damage that was done in that wreck. So still pretty light for damage or big wrecks here in this race at Bristol. You can have some pretty big pileups here, so these guys have been doing a pretty good job of keeping it off of the racing surface for the most part.
Yeah, he might still be okay. Before we do go any further, I want to go ahead and finish our sponsor reads by thanking the series sponsor, RevLimit Workshop. This series is brought to you by RevLimit Workshop, your go-to for pulsating designs at unbeatable prices. Need a logo or a promo? Get yours for just $5. Want a full racing scheme that stands out? It's only $15. Contact them on X or Twitter.com to get your premium custom scheme today. Thank you to all of our sponsors here in Elite.
If we want to take a look at Williams' hood here, looks like he still has the same spec map issue, but I want to highlight the paint that he's running. He unfortunately lost his father last week, so he's running a scheme to pay tribute to him, Russell William White. So I want to send our condolences to William, and yeah, hope you make it through these unpleasant times as well as possible. But coming back to the green flag here, we now have Jay Connor on the inside, so Will once again gets a good launch there, opens up a good gap, good jump. Back to having Jay and Gavin side by side, so those two teammates kind of can't seem to get away from each other, but kind of reset to where they started the previous longer run, whereas Corey had been in second place before the yellow that came up just before. And just to go back to what I was saying before that yellow did come out, early in a run is kind of the only time before you get a tire differential built up where the bottom can work, and we've got another yellow. So
oh man,
what happened here.
Oh no, Ray
Oh,
Bracy.
Ray Bracy.
A bad night gone worse for Bojo.
That looked like it must have been a pretty hard hit.
Let's see what happens. Oh, little twitch. Contact from the 59. And around goes the 7. And just nowhere to go for the 46, the 60. And then the third car that I quite didn't see the number for. That's significant damage for all of those cars involved.
That was Kyle Hanshaw in the 46 that got in there.
Oh my goodness, no, Cal Hanshaw was slowing down. The driver right behind Cal Hanshaw either did not see the wreck or just wasn't able to respond with the brakes in time as got turned right into Old
just
Bojo.
Ran through by Austin and had it there.
Here we go. Here's the 46. 60 machine right behind, 3 wide, and I'm gonna give the 60 a benefit of doubt. It's Bristol, very, very quick. Things can happen here in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, with how sharp these corners are, it's hard to see very far ahead through them, especially in the middle with lower FOVs. So it's hard to fault him too much. Oh, William's spec map is fixed.
Yeah, I had found his iRacing ID and it deleted his spec map. I think that's the issue. So this is the scheme as it's meant to be seen.
Yes. So yeah, can't fault Austin too much there. It's also hard to necessarily react when you can't see through the car in front of you as well. So just unfortunate. It's kind of getting to one of those bigger Bristol wrecks that we were talking about a little bit before as well. So
all right,
it's kind of inevitable, but here we are.
Yeah, we have Jacob Adams in the infield care center. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him up. And Alayton, would you mind talking to him?
Sure. Jacob Adams, Alayton up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
You had a unplanned visit to the barrels there, it looked like. Looks like that's going to be the end of your race tonight.
Oh yeah, max repair on pit road there. Lucky we didn't get a red flag out there, so figured there'd be a lot of cleanup. It wasn't a fun ride though.
Yeah, for sure. You want to talk us through your race leading up to that point and how it was looking for you?
Yeah, I mean these guys, the top 5, very fast. I was impressed. I was getting past left and right there. Pretty well ran the right front off the car and was just getting past left and right. These guys are fast though.
Yeah, we were watching you for some of that run and noticed you were catching the wall a few times and it was costing you some positions. Sounds like you're gonna have another yellow here potentially. And a car sliding at least. There it is.
Caution is back out.
But
anyway, keep going.
Yeah. Before I let you go, you want to give any shout-outs, sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, really just Chad for putting the league on, everybody here at ERN for doing the broadcast. It's not easy, so it's definitely you guys. Not on a team, don't have any sponsors or anything, so just shout out everybody in the league.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, and hope you have some better luck next week at Talladega.
All right, I'll be there.
All right, well, we saw what happened here as Jeff Ryan was one of a couple drivers kind of just in a pickle there on the backstretch, and unfortunately got slightly turned and then fully turned there at the end by the 52 to bring out that caution. Good for the 35 though, is no real major damage there, as we did see, I believe that was the 6 just killed that outside wall. The Zach Evans just actually, his hit wasn't as hard as I thought it was, but that's still gonna require a trip down pit lane, get his damage fixed.
Yeah, it looks like we had 3 wide between Kyle Hanshaw, Andrew Rucker, and who was the 5? Austin Sally. And then just Dave kind of loses it a little bit off of the corner, and that's not even loses it, just kind of goes down the track a bit. Yeah, that's kind of a wreck in slow motion almost. Not very big hits there, so good for that. Good for these guys that there was no significant damage there, but yeah, just a lot of cars packed into a small space.
Well said, well said. And we have, when we restart, it'll probably be 33 or so laps remaining. And we did get a pretty good run in the beginning. I believe around 20 or so laps. I think these guys can get another 30 or so laps green flag racing. But well, if you're in the top 5, let's say you're not William White, let's say you're Gavin Higgins or Jake Canner, what is your strategy with these 30 odd laps remaining to maybe get that victory away from White?
I think the best chance that they have to pass him would be to go all out on the top and try to pass him as early as possible, and then just play defense to the end. It's easier said than done because they're starting on the bottom. It's two teammates starting on the outside with Will and Corey. They could coordinate here to try and clear Gavin and Jay. I'm not sure that they will, but yeah, not so much. Will didn't even get a very big jump there either. I think he might have waited a little too long to get on the gas. It's going to make him vulnerable to Gavin here. He might be able to pull something off on fresh tires, or fresh-ish tires on the bottom. Oh, it's side by side for the lead for the first time in the race, I think.
Yeah, first time in the race that there have been side by side for the lead, as the advantage is going to continue to stay with William White. He pulls off, gets single file once again, running the middle to a lower portion of the corner, exiting their crossing start finish line with about 30 laps remaining here to go, and just running that middle line and then dipping down towards the bottom at the exit of the corner, getting himself great drive off the corners as caution is back out. A spin, the 22 goes around, heavy front end damage.
So
Andrew
there might be
Hardcastle,
a single car accident there, so good thing with that. Let's see what happened. We were by this replay machine.
Oh boy, wow, that was
not a single car.
That was none of his doing at all. Andrew Hardcastle went hard into that wall as just a victim of being at the right place at the wrong time.
No, the wrong place at the wrong time, yeah. Yeah, that's... Andrew always seems to have some pretty rough luck, and this week is no different. Sounds like a tally on the 66 for that one. Kind of caused Jaden to check up. Yeah.
Yeah, just hitting the wall
Trying
and
to
then
get
just
in the wall.
slowing down like that. Jaden Rasimas is also going down pit road, so he's got some damage to repair of as well. Good news for both of those drivers. I didn't see any of them get a black flag, or excuse me, get a meatball flag for that. So they should still be able to keep going, although maybe not at 100%.
Yeah, it looked like Andrew hit mostly square on the front, so he is probably going to have avoided a lot of wheel damage. So as long as it's just aero damage, he can run at probably like 90-95% pace. So his race isn't over, but was not helped by that incident. Another driver who was not helped by that caution is Corey Abbott. He lost another spot on that restart to Harrison Talon, and he's one of those drivers that kind of relies on long runs to start making up spots. He was running that strategy we were talking about earlier of running the bottom and saving tires early in a run, and on the long run that we had in the first half of the race, that had allowed him to pass both Jay and Gavin to move up into second, but with these short little sprints between yellows, that has cost him spots back down to 5th at this point. And speaking of Harrison Talon getting around him, he started in 17th and is up to 4th. Also notable, Justin Vandermeer started 21st and is in 6th. So Michael Hossack 26th up to 7th. So these guys are definitely making some moves, being in the right place at the in the final stages of this race.
We saw Higgins get a good run on that last restart. He gets side by side with White. Side by side once again. Same positions though. Advantage I'm still going to say is on the 43 as he's able to let that high line momentum work out for him. Gets cleared once again there with 24 laps remaining. As William White is maintaining a pretty good gap. Battle for that 4th place position though between Jay Kaner and Justin Vandermeer. As Vandermeer twitches, gets loose, and kills the outside wall. His car is done. That is heavy damage to the 80. He can't go anywhere but get stuck up on the outside line, and he has a meatball flag, so he has to go down pit road as soon as possible, as that car's race is pretty much done.
Yeah, that looked like a pretty violent snap on Justin's car there. The exit of these corners, it's scary, man.
It really is, but Higgins hasn't given up, has another run, is there on the quarter panel, a little bit of contact, side by side again, the 20 on the inside, yet again, no luck there at all as the 43 continues to use that outside line for momentum, clears himself once again, and is back to trying to defend the lead at a slightly easier convenience, but the 20 right behind him, not letting go. He is pressing L2 to intimidate there on the 43, and is getting right to the back bumper. Little wiggle from the 43, but he's still A-okay, still has good momentum there as a 20 is just shadowing that 43 right now. And right behind him, Harrison Talion, waiting for any of these guys to make a mistake to maybe gain 2 spots and win.
Yeah, Gavin is sticking on Will's bumper definitely a lot better than I thought he'd be able to. Earlier in the race, Will was opening up a gap, but he hasn't been able to do that. Another yellow.
Castle again.
Oh, no, Andrew.
Oh, no. Oh, wow. All right, well, at least he didn't hit a car.
Dave was a little slow to get on the brakes there, but avoided significant trouble, so works out.
I have to remember to stop pressing this button. There we go. All right, let's take a look and see what happened. Ooh. At 22,
a little contact
yes.
with 46, it looked like, caused Andrew to slow up and get some contact with the car behind him.
We can look at it from a different angle. The 22 hit the outside wall. I don't think it had anything to do with the 46, and then just trying to get off the outside wall, came down in front of the 19. I think that's the 19. And fully got turned around, and in the middle of the traffic, got caught up with the 60 and another vehicle, and Dave Huckleberry in the 52 almost clobbered Hardcastle, but thankfully didn't hit him, just kind of hit the wall a little bit.
One thing to keep an eye on here, Andrew Rucker up to 8th place on some quick mental math, 18 lap fresher tires than anyone else right now. A lot of, not necessarily a lot of, but some of those laps are under yellow, so it's not as big a difference as it could potentially be, but he does have the freshest tires of the top at least 14. Kyle Hanshaw does have fresh rubber in 15th, but it's late enough in the race that that might make a difference. He's gained enough places that it might have paid off pitting for him. I don't know if he'll be able to make it to the lead, making up 7 spots with the time that we have left, 14 laps, but
it's possible.
The top 5 is definitely on the table for him.
Yeah, the key thing working for him is he is going to be restarting on that outside line. That's going to be a major helping factor for him, especially with the leader also restarting on the outside line. Just has to follow right on through.
Yes and no. It depends. People are going to be running mostly the top line here, I think, this late in the race. So
yes,
he has to have somewhere to go, so he might have to be making these passes happen on the bottom, which might be possible with his tires.
The way I see
And
it
if
is,
anyone leaves the door open in the corners, he could run high above them, but yeah, we're about to find out what happens with that.
bad restart there for the 20 is 43. Single file going into turns 1 and 2, no problem. But the 20 just is making something work on that restart on the inside line. Whatever time he lost, he gained back. And imagine how closer he would have been if he had actually like held on to that like inside position there with the 43. But right back on that back bumper, not waiting, not hesitating, looking. He thought about it, goes back, stays right on the back bumper of the 43, just a little bit lower there through the corners. Gets a good run off the corners, but isn't able to get anything going here as we are 10 laps to go. William White holding off that 20 just enough as Higgins is trying to do whatever he can to maybe put a bumper, maybe a little nudge, get that 43 loose as they cross the line here. 9 to go. The 20 still in the back bumper, can't get enough momentum to get to his inside as time is running out. As the 43 and the 20 continue to battle for the lead, almost a little bit of contact, but these guys are just doing such a great job to not wreck each other and give us a wonderful battle for the lead. Contact, there goes the 43, he gets loose again. They're side by side, going for the race lead, going into 3 and 4. The 20 still on the inside and caution is out.
Well, that was almost Gavin's spot when the yellow came out, but not quite. That wreck was between Andrew Rucker, started between Andrew Rucker and I think Michael Hossack. Yeah, Rucker gets into the back of Hossack just a little bit, and that is enough of a checkup that Tommy Ryan gets into the back of Rucker. So, kind of an accordion there. We'll see how our race controls calls that one. But yeah, Rucker was up to 6th place on that restart, so he gained a couple more spots, but he is now back down to 7th.
So I guess 1 spot overall, but now he is on the inside with damaged race car.
Yeah, not the situation he wanted to see. We're also going to be going green with just a handful of laps left, so I think he'll be lucky to get a top 5 at this point, but he did get a tally for that.
So yeah, he's going to be dropping to the tail end there.
I don't think he gets an EOL for a tally, but...
Oh, shoot, my bad. I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we might wish might happen, but does not in Elite. So, a lot of tallies handed out tonight, but I don't think anyone has been parked yet. So, well, actually, I think Gray would have been parked if he hadn't have towed and been done on his own after his previous wreck, or his last wreck. So, yeah, lots of tallies, but yeah. Okay, so this last restart, hopefully last restart, I think the biggest thing Will needs is to get a good jump on Gavin this time. He hasn't quite gotten the jump that he needs for the past several restarts. I feel like he's waiting very long into the restart zone, and it's kind of giving away a lot of his advantage of controlling the restart. Whatever Gavin is doing in turn 1 and 2, he is just making it stick on the bottom very well. So if he can do that again, he's going to have something to give to Will here. Oh, he gets cut off on the bottom, so it's going to be a little harder for him even.
I don't know about that. I think that may have been a mistake from William White giving a caution is back up. Did he have the lead? I think he may have had the lead. Oh, I don't know. That was the closest Higgins has gotten to maybe having the lead there, as I don't think he got the lead. I think maybe if the caution had come out half a second later, I think Higgins would have been the race leader, because he was ahead right there at the very end. Just by a nose, he was ahead.
Yeah, it's tricky with the where iRacing judges positions when the yellow comes out there. Ooh. The Kumar was loose into the corner.
Let's see it from a different angle.
Oh, he gets bumped by the 66. And then is fighting it through the rest of the corner, catches the 12 of Dominic Wright, and just kind of starts collecting cars at that point.
Yeah. And just a huge stack up after that initial contact, and a lot of cars get themselves more additional damage. Clay Mitchell got a meatball flag on that one. What are we going to get this time by? This is going to be the first attempt at a green-white checkered. And remind me, how many attempts did these guys have?
They should have 3 green-white checkers allowed here. Hopefully we don't use more than one, but we're gonna find out. Harrison Talon did move up into 3rd place on that restart, so he has displaced Jay Kaner from the podium. It is worth noting, of our current top 4 in the championship, they are all within the top 6 currently. Corey Abbott being the furthest back in 6th place, and he is currently 2nd in points. He would lose that position to Gavin as things run right now, if they finish this way. Possibly move down to 4th behind Jay as well. I'm not 100% certain.
Pace car
Coming to
is
the green
off.
again. Oh, better jump from Will that time on Gavin. Gavin and Jay side by side. Jay is going to clear Gavin. Or, sorry, other way around. Gavin does clear Jay. So, coming to the white. Side by side with for the lead. Will does still have the advantage. They're both going to be up top coming to the backstretch here. Gavin's looking for a run into 3. But looks like Will's going to hang on. Yeah, he takes the win. Gavin could not quite get back down to his bottom, on his inside, into 3. So couldn't quite make it happen. But that is the closest anyone has managed to race Will to a win this season. So Gavin has got to feel good about that. Jay did clear Harrison Talon back to retake 3rd. So top 3 is William White, Gavin Higgins, and Jay Connor.
Actually, Harrison Talon finished 15th. And I'm very certain William White's going to be dedicating this victory, this drive tonight to his father.
Oh, I'm sure this has got to be... this is going to mean something to him, I think. So this is going to be potentially an emotional post-race interview, but it's going to be a big win for him. Do you want to take a short break while we wait for our podium finishers to?
Yeah, we're gonna let the burnout play out while we're at radio silence, and after we're gonna take a couple minutes to get ourselves regrouped and get the people we need to talk to going, and then maybe in the during time we'll play a commercial or 2. It looks like the burnout may be done so. We'll be back in just a little bit as we go ahead and bring in some of the drivers to talk to.
Be sure to check out Tim Mayo Conrad and the Weekend Woodsman crew on YouTube. Make sure you hit that like button to get notifications when a new video drops. And check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Enjoy the race.
And now, NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship playoffs are coming. Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
All right, we are back here at Bristol after a pretty exciting finish to that Bristol 125 in the RevLimit Workshop Development Series presented by Pit Pass Network. Taking the win here was William White and Gavin Higgins, Jay Connor in Gavin Higgins in second, Jay Connor in third. Harrison Talon finishes fourth. Good run from the back from him. Michael Hossack. That's not Harrison again. Michael Hossack in fifth, even further from the back into 26th. Corey Abbott finishes sixth, Cale Pocock in seventh, Andrew Rucker in eighth, Frank Fody in ninth, and Kyle Hanshaw rounds out the top 10. In 11th, got David Phillips, 12th is Josh Clark, 13th Jaden Rasimas, 14th Andrew Hardcastle, and Tommy Ryan in 15th after what would have been a dominated win last week at Mosport. So not the race that he would have liked to have come back to this week. The rest of the results are there on your screen. And I think we are going to go ahead and bring in our top three finishers for interviews now, starting with our third place finisher of Jay Connor. Jay, Alayton up here in the booth, you got a copy?
Sure do.
That was some pretty tight racing between the top three of you there. More than three of you, but you want to walk us through how your race went?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, not as good as Williams, but as good as it could have went there. It's having control of the restarts here is huge, having that top. And, we got into that like 55 lap run there, and I thought I was doing a decent job at saving some tire, and Corey Abbott ran me down like I was standing still. So the beginning of the next one there, I tried taking it easy a little bit, and then the caution started falling over and over. And then once it was like 25 laps to go or so, or 30 laps to go, I just figured might as well just, treat them as sprint runs there. So pushed it pretty hard there, and then we ended up with that with 10 to go or 12 to go. I thought that was going to be a hell of a good run there for Gavin and me, the way that things were shaking up. Gavin was pressuring William real hard and making him drive hard, and William kept getting loose, and I thought it was going to be a really cool finish. But the cautions at the end, they just kept breaking everything up. And for me, it was between me and Harry, just kept going back and forth, and whoever had the outside was going to get that third spot there at the end. So it's such an advantage starting on the outside to roll the top in that first corner and carry the momentum. So just worked out luckily there for the green-white checker.
Yeah, it looked like you were able to get side by side with Gavin on a couple of those restarts when you were in fourth, but he was just finding something that worked on the bottom in 1 and 2 to just kind of clear you off of the corner. Do you think that there was anything you could have done to kind of take that spot from him there?
Not without risking the whole deal. Him getting a little bit of a worse start on the bottom. I swear he wasn't lifting. I think he was running 1 and 2 wide open and just hoping it worked out. I was at least going in and feathering it, coming out of it a little bit just to make sure it didn't come around. But especially on new tires, the first couple laps, these things are pretty loose here until the right front gets some heat in them. And those last 2 or 3, he really wanted that win there. And we were joking in the room, the waiting room, that he was just hitting William hard enough to see how hard he could hit him going into the last lap. But yeah, I don't think he was lifting on those starts on 1 and 2. But it like I said, I knew that having the outside was going to be my only way to stay up there. So when it kept flip flopping between Harry and me there, I just wanted to make sure I brought it home with a decent finish. I was pretty close to the cut line on the points there, so that was my priority.
Yeah, I think you're either going to be tied. Yeah, I think you're going to be tied with Corey for third. So you're both third and fourth, essentially.
Right.
Before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank, shout-outs you want to give?
No sponsors. Just thanks to you guys for putting on a great broadcast all the time, and shout out to friends and family that watch, and of course, got to throw neighbor Pete in there. I'm sure he's sitting next door watching this one, so he's probably pumped seeing us run second and third here.
All right, congrats on third place. Good luck next week at Talladega.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Jay Connor, third place finisher. We're gonna bring up Gavin Higgins and have a chat with him, Jay's teammate. Gavin, lighten up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
That was quite a finish between you and Will. You were definitely giving him a run for his money there, and I'm pretty sure that is the closest anyone has managed to race him for a win this season yet. So how are you feeling about that right now?
I'm feeling good, but I feel like on that lap, I think it 1:23 caution, I'm pretty sure I was ahead of him when the lights came out, but I mean, overall it was a good race. We had that long run. I was really needed caution. I really burned up the right front, and I felt like if we didn't get a caution soon, you know, there was the second pack of cars that were catching me. I think it was like there's like 3 cars in that. It would not have been good.
Yeah, with how difficult it could be to pass here sometimes, that track position is definitely valuable. Do you think well, we were talking to Jay about this, but on those restarts, you had something that worked on the bottom for you. Were you just keeping it floored all the way around the corner, or how were you managing to make up so much ground on those restarts?
You know, he got a better start on every single restart. But you know, I would go into the corner and I wouldn't really get off of it. I mean, I'd be like half throttle, 3/4 of throttle, and then coming off, I would just floor it and hope I don't get loose and spin out. And then trying to pass on the bottom, it's just like impossible.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, but on the broadcast, it did look like you might have had a nose on Will, but just with the way that iRacing timing worked out, it did not give you that position. But it's got a sting being just that slightest bit away from a potential win here.
Yeah, the points wise, it was good for points, but next week with Talladega, who knows what we're gonna do there. I still haven't decided with Jay what we're gonna do next week, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Just stay out of the big wreck. There's probably gonna be a big wreck, so the goal is just to stay out of that.
Yeah, you are firmly in second place now after that finish. So you're in about as good of a place as you can be for the final race before the cutoff, but it's Talladega.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, any sponsors you want to thank, shout outs you want to give?
No sponsors. Shout outs to you guys for putting this on. You guys do amazing. I'm Jay racing with me tonight, and Jaden, and my mom, dad, brother, sister, grandparents for watching, and neighbor Pete.
All right. Congrats on the win here tonight, and good luck next week at Talladega.
Thanks.
All right, and now our winner tonight, William White. Will, lighten up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I do. What's up?
I gotta open with this. You've gotten a lot of wins this season, but is this one a little bit more special for you?
It is. Definitely. I mean, I'm sure you will have seen my car. During the broadcast, we lost my dad on Thursday afternoon, so it's been a unbelievably difficult week. It's been a lot for everyone around me to process. It hasn't really set in yet, but it's given us some comfort to know that, I've always done this for him. He's watched every single one of my races pretty much till the day he left us. He was there watching the races, cheering me on, always supported me in everything that I did. So I threw a little something together literally in like 15 minutes when I got home in the middle of practice. Just to whip something up. It's not the best looking thing, but it doesn't need to be. Just for him, because I know he would like it, and I've always done this for him, so I wanted to honor his memory. And to win a race straight after that, it's been the happiest I've been for a little while, because it's been a lot to deal with. So yeah, I'm glad to get it for him, for sure. It's definitely, for Elite Arco, it's quite an emotional win, but I'm definitely happy to get it. The rest of the field did not make it easy, that is for sure.
Yeah, kind of carrying off on that. That racing with Gavin is probably the tightest racing that you've had for a win this season yet. How are you feeling about some of the bumps that he was giving you there?
Oh, I think it was fair game. I mean, it's Bristol. You got to do whatever you can to try and get in front of a guy, especially the cautions we were having. Left, right, and centre. After that long run, we thought this could go all the way green here, and I was about a couple of seconds in front, but Corey was really chugging along there. Was probably going to catch me if it went green the whole way. But Gavin was giving me hell once we got back to being all bunched up again under those yellows, and when the yellows started flying in 2, 3, 4 in a row, that's when you kind of know it's go time on the restart to get whatever track position you can, and that's kind of what fed into those cautions, breeding cautions there, incidentally. So I think from that, I would say lap 80, 90, Gavin knew that he had to do moves whatever he could to get past me, and I don't blame him one bit. As long as I was facing in the right direction and I wasn't, putting it in the wall, I think any kind of bump is fair game. And kid's a monster. He is super, super quick, and I think on a green run late on there, definitely would have probably had my number. I'm just glad to have got just about good enough restarts to stay ahead of him when it mattered most. But yeah, the bumps I don't think were too bad. There was one lap 118 or so, I got properly loose and it lit up the res. I'm like, he's skating it a bit, but fair enough, he's got to do what he can do. And then the caution comes out like half a lap later, so I don't blame him one bit. He is a monster, and give me hell, but it was genuinely, I think, the single most fun bit of racing I've had. Definitely an Elite, potentially ever on iRacing. It was so fun, and props to him.
Yeah, knowing what was at stake for you tonight, seeing how close you two were racing was making me pretty anxious up here. So, glad that it kind of stayed clean between you two at least. So you had a good race to finish there. You think that you could have had some better jumps potentially on those restarts, or anything you could have done better there? Because you would be clearly ahead of him into turn one, but then we were talking to him about this. He was just staying pretty heavy on the throttle right along the bottom and would close that gap up immediately onto the backstretch.
Yeah, no, I don't know what he was doing because I did not have the same confidence in the car that it would stick. It felt a bit skittish going down into turns 1 and 2. I'm thinking, how the bloody hell? So I thought, going one of the later restarts, I thought he was backing it up, try and punch it on exit. That didn't work. He just caught me even quicker. So I thought, right, okay, he's just doing something wacky. So I thought, coming to the green-white checkered, I was just like, I'm just going to go as early as I can and just do what I've been doing the entire time because it's been working well enough to keep him behind for at least 4 or 5 laps. It can keep him behind for 2, hopefully. Yeah, I was getting the restarts were good enough. I was clearing him into turn 1, even in second gear when I could tell he was in first. I just, again, the tyres I don't think could really handle it when you got sort of a dozen or so laps on them. I thought maybe get a bit of wheel spin, but Gavin was on me coming out of turn 2 every time. I'm thinking, bloody hell, he is so quick out of that corner. I have no idea how he's doing it because I thought I was close enough to limit. I was definitely being a bit conservative because I was conscious of the grip that I didn't think I had, that I might have had. I just didn't have that confidence, but it was good enough where I could run the wall, not give him the gap up high, and I could, when he got to my inside, just pinch him as hard as I could to compromise his exit. It was close, and I was doing that on purpose. I was thinking he's either going to slow down because I'm going to tighten him up, or he's going to hit me and wreck himself. That was honestly the mentality of just pinch him as hard as you can and just make life hell for him. Because it was making life hell for me, and it was really, really fun to race it out like that. And yeah, so all props to him. Kid's an absolute beast, and definitely on a green flag run would have absolutely had my number. So I am thankful for the cautions we did have, and thankful that I was getting just enough of a gap in the restart zone where my lack of confidence out of turn 2 wasn't quite as costly as it potentially could have been.
Going into Talladega next week, you should have something like a 24-ish point buffer, maybe a little bit more. Do you feel comfortable with that, or are you still a little anxious about your chances of making the championship final here?
I'm fairly comfortable. Honestly, I came into this race just hoping to survive because I'm absolutely dead at Bristol. Like, I mean, I've raced you, Alayton, and you nearly double lapped me one race in the Gen 4 here. You've, in another race you won here, you lapped me. I've been smoked so many times and just gotten dead results because I've done how to save tyre. I still weren't great at saving tyre that first run. Corey was showing me the business, but yeah, to win it, thankful more than anything else. I would have torn a man's arm off for a top 5. So a win is probably fantastic. So first, third, first in the playoffs. I've about maximised what I can do. Objective for Talladega is just to survive and finish in the lead pack on the lead lap. Because that will probably get me a top 15, I would have thought, at the very least. Because that place is just mental. We're going to be 3-4 wide coming to the line, probably. Got a 10-car pile-up. I might be in it. And then I might end up outside the Championship 4. And if after a 6-win season, if I don't even make the Championship 4, then fate was just against me and didn't want me to have the championship. So that's fair enough. Even if I somehow don't make the final 4, if I, get wrecked on lap 2 at Talladega and I get the eternal meatball and I just can't race and I finish last and somehow drop out, I'll at least be comfortable in the fact that in the races that weren't lottery tickets, I've maximised it. So I think regardless of the outcome at Talladega, I'll be happy with my own performance. But in terms of being comfortable with the 24-point buffer, I'm about as comfortable as I can be. So I'm just going to go in there and try and survive and preserve that points buffer as best I can.
All right. Before we let you go, sponsor you want to thank? Shoutouts you want to give?
Yeah, well, of course, we had, they're not on the card today, but University of Chichester, of course, they're still supporting me all the way. Everyone at Abbott Motorsports, you, Robert, who unfortunately isn't here today, Corey, Kale, Andrew, Mitch running for BOR, Dom as well. I'm not forgetting anyone. I forgot Kale last week. I'm not forgetting him again. All my friends who just want me back home, Holly as well. My dad, obviously, God rest his soul. Doing this for him, winning for him, super special. Or everyone in the commentary team, ERN, all the admins as well. Scott Crump deputizing for race control. Shout out to him, and yeah, on to Talladega.
All right. Congrats on a little bit more special win here tonight, and good luck next week at Talladega.
All right, cheers.
All right, that pretty much wraps up a good race here tonight at Bristol. Any final thoughts, Carlos?
No, it's just a couple struggles here and there from some drivers, but as a whole, it was still a well done race for a lot of these guys. Got to see some fantastic there, and I think we're all going to be leaving here in a very happy mood.
Yeah, that was definitely an exciting finish. Could have done with a couple fewer cautions, but yeah, it was a good race here tonight, and I'm looking forward to next week. I do want to thank you, Carlos, for stepping up here this week and filling in for Robert as producer, and also covering for me with some of the empty air. So thanks for that. And yeah, I'm Alayton Norgard, and for Carlos Acosta, thanks for joining us here tonight at Bristol, and we'll see you next week.